I'm here today to talk to the guys at the Oxford Natural Longevity and Aesthetic Clinic in Alderley Edge to discuss the products and services they provide and to enlist me onto the 12-week Optimum Day and Night Supplement Programme to see what positive effects it has on my overall health and appearance.
I'm Antonia Schulze-Maskau, CEO of Gang Life and Oxford Natural. My academic background is in psychology, economy and neuroscience, with degrees conducted at the University of Mannheim, Germany, University of Oxford, England, and UC Berkeley in the United States. My focus has been, among others, on public health interventions, AI, human health behavior change strategies, as well as developing illegal real-life application for the court of law in the United States using fMRI. At Gang Life, we focus on longevity. So we are interested in anything that promotes human and animal health and lifespan. So all our efforts are tailored towards slowing down the aging process on its cellular level, ideally bringing it to a halt or reversing the biological clock. And as a result, we can be in our 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s, 110, and so on, just as agile, healthy, enjoying life to the fullest, and look like we're in our 30s. And the way that we are structured at Gang Life is threefold. So one pillar looks at research, studies, technologies, products, services, anything that's already out there in the field. And our team of scientists based in Oxford is evaluating on a meta level as to what we believe, giving the scientific evidence, are actually promising pathways, which might be more waste of time, waste of money, or even worse, harmful, as not necessarily everything that's out there is good or might not be the right fit for you. And so we do provide that knowledge and that information in the public domain on our social media platforms like Instagram. We do also have an online blog where we share several articles per week, and as well a newsletter with the latest cutting edge breakthroughs from the past month. And our second branch is focusing on conducting our own research. So as an example, we developed a formula to treat a skin disease called vitiligo, which causes white patches on the skin. And actually, this was one of our scientists, Dr. Avi Roy, which is sitting right here with me, that has vitiligo himself. And being a nerdy scientist from Oxford, he has done his own research, experimented on himself, and very successfully got it under control for the past few years, which is incredible and brilliant. And anything but not sharing it with the public domain would be superficial and selfish. So that's why we're doing the research on this, and as this is just an N1, we of course have to conduct a bigger trial. That's what we're going to do, or currently are doing with Manchester University. And so we conducted a trial of several subjects from different ethnicity groups, so different countries around the globe, different age groups, gender groups, and we're going to see if we can scale it up and help more than just one person. And that's very exciting for us, as vitiligo, or having vitiligo, is among others correlated with mental health challenges, but also purely from a longevity perspective, it's very interesting as it's an autoimmune dysfunctionality, meaning it often appears with age, so it's age-related. Hence, our findings can potentially be quite interesting for the field of longevity as a whole. And lastly, our third branch is focusing on developing, based on our understanding and knowledge that we have generated and findings, real-life applications that are scalable so that we can help as many people and non-human animals as possible. So those products, services, and technologies go and enter the market under the brand Oxford Natural. And so we have several projects underneath that umbrella. One of them we're sitting in right now, and that's also the reason why you're here with us. It's the Oxford Natural Longevity and Aesthetic Clinic, where we help our clients to achieve a longer and healthier and happier life along eternal beauty. We also have Oxford Natural online health store, where we provide several longevity supplements. And lastly, we're currently also working on a longevity and music festival. These are just a few projects to name, with many more to come. And one last thing that I would like to highlight is that the revenue that we generate with Oxford Natural and all the Oxford Natural project that we're having is directly reinvested into our research branch of the company, allowing us to provide research, to conduct research and provide the research insights in the public domain and make it freely and publicly available.
Fascinating. Right, Avi, follow that. Have you got anything else to say?
I haven't got as much to say as that.
I think Antonia said everything. I'm Avi Roy. I'm a cell biologist and a longevity researcher. I did my PhD in Oxford and on skin cells and trying to see if we can actually keep them younger longer. And since then, all my work has been in the field of longevity, mostly looking at how we can repair damage at a cellular level so that then you don't have the damage at a tissue or an organ level, and of course at the whole human level. In that work, I have worked on gene therapy, cell therapies, even cancer diagnostics, and then with 80 and Oxford Naturals, we're actually looking at supplements that can actually help with slowing down the rate of aging at a cellular level and repair some of the processes. So that is the whole objective. And the main reason why you go all the way from something like gene therapy, which is targeting proteins or mRNA or DNA at a cellular level, all the way to supplements, is that you may not need that. Your body's potential to do and repair itself is still working just fine. If you have that capacity working, all you need is just a little bit of a push. And that push comes without any side effects, and it comes with pro effects that enhance the function that your body already has. And that's why Oxford Natural and the supplements that we're working on is the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. So my whole career has been focused on trying to improve human health and longevity and try to keep people, as Antonia said, in their 20s and 30s for as long as possible so that you can chronologically get older, but biologically stay younger and healthier. So,
okay, well, we'll nail down some of the tips and questions around some of those specific subjects later on. Sam, if you could give us a little brief.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. Sam. So I'm a clinical prescribing pharmacist. I'm also an aesthetics practitioner and clinician. I have a PhD in molecular biology and genetics of cancer research. So I too have looked at gene therapy and worked in the laboratories, trying to find the cure for cancer, which is a way off yet. But using a similar kind of looking at cellular biology, molecular biology. So I've got some experience there. But being a clinician, I can bring the science to the medicine because I'm patient facing. I see patients every day. And this is exciting for us to be involved in because bringing these things from the lab, which I've got experience with, to the patients is fantastic to be able to get involved in that. So I'm just passionate about keeping people healthy, helping people to live longer. So this ties in well with everything that's going on with Oxford Naturals and the Aesthetics Clinic.
Brilliant. Dr. Andre, last but not least.
Yes, hi Michael, lovely to see you. Well, I'm Dr. Andre. I've been a doctor for 30 years. I've been at the coalface as a GP, as a sports physician, and currently a longevity physician and aesthetics doctor. And I had a light bulb moment about 10 years ago that it turns out that getting sick is preceded by getting old. And almost every illness is cells aging and then making us ill. And this was a real big change for me in terms of thinking, because I get a sick patient and do my best to construct them to wellness. But there is this window of opportunity, which is the cell ages, the tissue ages, and then becomes sick and then presents symptoms which I'm trained to recognize. So we've got to use this window. Western medicine has sort of failed. It doesn't work. It waits till you're sick. There's sickness services, not health services. So at Oxford Natural, we're looking to get to the cellular level. What stops you aging? Because what stops you aging will stop getting you sick. And that's where we're really focused. And we'd look to make you look good on the outside with high-level, non-surgical aesthetic treatments, taking you back 10 years, making you look externally the way you feel internally, as well as changing your internal health to hopefully reverse this biological clock and prevent disease.
Okay, I want to start off by chatting about the supplement Optimum and how that can benefit patients, people in general. Avi, do you want to kick things off?
Sure. I mean, although these guys are much more qualified, but yeah, no. So the ethos around Oxford Natural is try to just give that little bit of a push to your natural physiological process. Every morning when people wake up, most people, at least in developed world, are chronically sleep deprived. So you need that boost of energy. But guess what? You get that boost of energy generally from a cappuccino, or worse, much worse if you are in the US. You get it from caffeine, you get it from sugar, and then comes the crash. But along with the crash comes this peak and trough of all your hormones that induce you to eat more. And so by the time you reach like late afternoon, you have overconsumed, you have underslept. It's just a total nightmare. And then by the time you get into evening, you're now in like flight or fight mode, and you want to get rest, the next night's sleep to catch up, at least try to do that. And that's not happening because now you've got to get yourself to sleep with either alcohol or some other kind of compound that actually tries to just force you to go to sleep and doesn't give you good sleep. That's our perennial problem. And to address that, what we try to do is that we understand that we can't fix everything in one day. And we would ideally couple good lifestyle and balanced diet along with this. But to support our customers and our clients, what we have designed is a formula that gives you natural all-day energy without the troughs and the peaks, so that you don't feel jittery, so our formula is designed for that. And one of the things that people most forget is that certainly your metabolism is revved up when you go to the gym or an hour after the gym, if you can make it to the gym. Or if you eat high protein diets, which are highly in fat, certainly your metabolism is made up, but all of that makes up about 30% of your entire metabolic rate. Much of it comes from when you're resting. So how do we actually help people while they're resting not have the peaks and valleys in their hormonal levels whilst having all day energy and whilst burning a few more calories than they normally would? And that is where our formula is designed. Finally, because we are longevity clinicians and longevity scientists, we have packed this optimal supplement and the nighttime supplement with longevity promoting compounds with the latest research that is showing that. So the two kinds of things that are there are natural things that have been used in Ayurvedic medicine or even Western medicine for a very long time, Western supplemental medicine, or there are the latest and greatest longevity promoting compounds that have shown not just benefit in lab, but are in clinical trials right now. So those are the two things that we have packed, and that's why we call it optimal. And that's during the day, and it helps you go through your day without having any kind of destabilization in your mood, having a good amount of energy and good outlook on life, and not having those peaks and valleys where you just binge on something and you regret that later.
Isn't it fair to say that when you go into a so-called health store, it's like, well, what do I need? There's like 3,000 products here. I seem to need all of them. They all seem to do very similar things. Don't bother. Okay, we've done that. We've sort of honed it down to the best products, the most evidence-based products in the best combination. And so we've done all the thinking for you in that sense. And there's a morning product and a nighttime product, isn't there? So we've got you covered all day.
Yeah, and one thing also I would like to add is that one aspect is sleep improvement. One aspect that also works hand in hand is stress management or mood management. Overall health and well-being, longevity, we say that as well. And one aspect aside of that is also, which clearly always is important, like how do we look, how do we feel? And weight management is also one aspect. Avi, can you say a few things about the mechanisms in that respect?
Yeah, I think the two main points that Antonia made was sleep and weight. And we feel like there are two times in our day where one is good, one part of our day is good for one and the other part is right. So for example, you start prepping for sleep maybe about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, most people, they'll start to say, okay, I think I need to fall asleep now. Well, nah, that's not how circadian rhythm works. It should have been prompted all throughout the day with balanced diet, nutrition, exercise at the right time and things like that. If you do a massive cardio class or session at 9 p.m., it's going to be very hard to fall asleep, even though exercise is great for you. But it's at the right time, at the right place. Optimal, our supplement for the daytime and all our supplement for the nighttime is kind of prepping you throughout the day for that optimal sleep at night, but also that weight loss and the metabolic activity throughout during the day. So the way we have designed these compounds is that for the first 12 hours of the day, you have revved up metabolism. You can use that even better if you did optimal nutrition and exercise, but by itself, it will also work towards your weight loss goals. But then slowly at nighttime, it starts to shift that temperament towards resting and trying to slow it down and trying to increase the amount of hormones that would actually promote and induce a good deep sleep along with REM sleep as well. So none of those compounds that feel like you're making progress in your sleep, they put you to sleep, but you don't get any REM sleep or any deep sleep. You just don't remember that you were kind of sleeping. So no dreaming, no nothing. So weight loss doesn't just happen when you are revved up during the day. It also is happening throughout the night, because that is for most people, the biggest fasting period. So if you are metabolically active without disturbing your sleep, you're actually doing a lot of good in that point of time as well. So we have taken all of that into consideration and designed a formula that kind of works with each other with the most best evidence that we have currently.
Okay, so sticking on the theme of supplements, unique. What's the difference? What type of benefits does the unique supplement have?
Okay, so this is where we take one step further from what I said before. So the supplements, Oxford Naturals' main focus is to try to just push your body just a little bit and have the natural response. Things it may not have had for a while, things that it's lacking, things like that. The unique is, well, it's in the name. The idea is that, well, you or another person your age is going to be quite different. And what are the unique things that you are missing, or what are the unique ways that your body is behaving differently than another 40-year-old person? And so the first thing is to identify that there is a problem. So there are extensive tests and panels to understand what is unique about you, your physiology, your biology, your biochemistry, because it has been a while since, as Andre was pointing out, that aging has been doing its thing on you, and it may have accumulated differently, the damages in you versus somebody else. So first thing is to identify the problem, and then second is to figure out the unique solution to your problem so that we can actually return you back to the youthful state that you used to be. So that's the core concept of unique, is personalizing and precision supplementation for people.
Okay, I want to just presume that I've walked into a clinic. I want to look and feel less tired, less saggy, less angry, less sad. What type of things, if it was coming in and saying all these things, that's how I feel at the moment, what would you say to me?
It's very important to understand, what you want, what it is you actually want to achieve through an aesthetic process. If it's going to be a visual change, everyone has great things about their face and things that they don't like so much. So we're looking to enhance what you think is the best part of your face and treat, minimize, improve those things which you think are not quite so good. And generally we're moving too much, there's too much wrinkle going on, and that's simple in terms of solution with anti-wrinkle injection. You'll find that you may identify creases on your face that make you feel tired and less well slept, but actually those things are caused by volume loss. So we try to make you understand that sometimes a crease is not the problem, that's actually just a symptom, and the cause is generally a loss of facial tension. And people, to get their best face, often use 1, 2 or 3 fingers to push upwards. And there's a 1-finger way of doing it, a 2-finger and a 3-finger way of doing it. And then people start to understand the nature of facial aging, and then they understand how our treatments best get them to the ideal stage. But nothing that pushes you too far. It's got to be gradual, sensible, where you feel educated by the process, one with what we're doing. And ultimately get the way you want to look externally to match the way you feel internally. But yeah, educating and then making sure we reach the goals that you would like for you.
Okay, and from an inside point of view, if I came in saying I want more energy, I want to feel stronger, leaner, with more drive and better sleep, what would you then recommend?
We look at the holistic approach as well as the outside, as Andre was saying with the aesthetics. So we do blood tests and screening. We can do we get an ideal snapshot of what your body is at the moment. So we can see, and again, we can add in unique supplements, or we can advise on things, but it's really getting that picture first of why you're feeling the way you're feeling. Like Avi alluded to, you know, what's going wrong or what's happening in your body that's making you feel that way. There are lots of solutions, but we need to start firstly by looking at what's going on. And that's what we try to do. So usually it's just, as I say, it's internal. So we do bloods, is a good one to look at first. We can see what's going on in the body.
Yeah, because all things we have are phenomenal. We've got to make sure that you're not sick. Okay, just first of all. So do blood markers, test 100 blood markers, look at the way you metabolize sugar, look at your maybe a continual glucose monitor to see how sugar varies during the day. Just look for the 4 horsemen, the worrying signs, things like cancer, diabetes, dementia risk and cardiovascular risk. Let's see how those things are stage 1 and then see what we can alter, sort of nudge, lean into, which give you, again, as you say, more energy, better sleep. Because ultimately good nutrition and good sleep are going to be the key things, and exercise. So we start with those things as the fulcrum and then we can nurture around that and lean into other things as well.
One common thing, I guess, when people that people are a little bit upset about when they get a bit older, weight gain. If somebody came to you and said, I'm putting on weight, apart from the obvious, go and exercise more, get a better diet, is there anything that you can do, anything that you can recommend from a weight gaining point of view?
I'm trained in the National Weight Loss Programme. So what I do is I have consultations with people and we try and break down what they're eating, what their lifestyle's like. Because ultimately people try and come for a quick fix. They want to lose weight, they're going to a wedding, whatever it is, but it's not about that. We're looking at the health side of things as well. It's not good to be overweight long term. It puts your body at risk. There are lots of different factors involved there. So yeah, you get a good consultation and then we can offer weight loss solutions. But initially we need to try and get people to think about what they're doing. But like Andre said, it's always the, eat well, exercise. Sleep is very important. We've gone through that already, but sleep is essential.
For weight loss?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, your body repairs when you're asleep. You need to, and also they were saying how, the pathways shut down, the insulin pathways are more dormant when you're asleep, but you're still metabolizing. So the whole point of sleep is just to actually fix yourself, really, and people just not getting enough sleep or good quality sleep. But when you look at all the longevity studies and all the aging studies, it always involves lack of sleep or needing more sleep.
It was always that way when I was a junior doctor working the mad hours, and what you find is that your leptin, the normal hormonal control of appetite goes insane when you're on shift work. And so one thing you dread about shift work is you'll put on pounds because the body doesn't know if it's day or night, it's not getting that normal cut-off period to shut down, and so you wind up feeling hungrier than you should, and sugar goes up and down crazy during the day, and therefore you wind up in a stress panic mode. And when the body is like that, it tends to store things because it's in a stress pattern. When you're more relaxed, good sleep, deeper sleep, the body is happier, calmer, and all those cravings and sugar peaks and troughs are far reduced. So exercise is important, sleep is crucial, good nutrition, but if those things are still not quite getting there, then we do have other injectable prescribable medications.
We do prescribe things as well, but I also try and encourage people to use these glucose monitors that people have, not because they're diabetic, but it's a good indicator of how your blood sugar, you can watch. I tell them to eat normally, like they normally would, and you can see what spikes your sugar. We know what will, but it's actually seeing the data and the information is very powerful.
Do you remember what spiked your sugar the most?
Yeah, oranges.
Just
an orange, and you think you're eating something healthy like an orange, and that it didn't spike Andre's blood sugar.
For me, it was
sugar-free
gum did it for me.
Yeah. So it's interesting. You see,
so everybody's different.
Everybody's different. There's the common things that you'd expect, like if you eat a packet of Skittles or something, it will go through the roof. But you can see what is for you. You can see what triggers your insulin response. And as we're saying, we're trying to keep the insulin from peaking and troughing. The glucose levels and the insulin having to adjust it. this is what we're trying to keep. So it's a good tool to add in for weight loss. And then of course, yeah, we can prescribe things to help people, but it's in conjunction with, as we said, good diet, exercise.
Okay, and something lots of people are really interested in is their skin, is their appearance. Yeah. What tips do we have for younger, tighter skin? Well,
we have good skincare is key to start off with. A lot of people just don't look after their skin properly, and the skin barrier breaks down for lots of different reasons. People get damaged, they can get the wrinkles because they're dehydrated. There's lots of issues with that. So a good skincare routine is vital for that. But there are obviously other things we can do with machinery. We've got energy-based machines that we can actually tighten skin. But we usually try and start off looking at what you're using, what you're doing, how you're exposing your skin. Things like just the essentials, or you need a vitamin C antioxidant serum. It's essential for everybody really. You definitely need an SPF 50 every day, even on a day like today, you know, when it's not sunny, the UVA and UVB damage is coming through the clouds. So these are the kind of things to protect. Because as you get older, well, I deal with a lot of patients in pharmacies. We see a lot of skin cancers, you know, because people, they don't think it's going to happen to them, but just small, superficial ones that are treatable, but still, it's on the increase, because just something as simple as putting an SPF on every day is that shield, you know, for your skin. And good hydration. People don't hydrate their skin anywhere near the way they should. Most of us are pretty dehydrated, so it's looking at.
And when you say hydrated, you purely mean drinking as opposed to hydrating your skin with a cream?
Both, because good skincare cream, your good moisturiser, good hydrator keeps the moisture in, which is essential. And we can use things like skin boosters to add in more moisture. But equally, it all goes, is it internal and external, as we always keep homing on about really. But yeah, looking at your skin, what you're doing to your skin and how you're treating it is important. Starting point.
One thing that is crucial for people to remember is if they are trying to stop the middle-age central adiposity creep or weight gain creep and things like that, why working with healthcare professionals is very useful is because social media is full of easy, quick fixes. And today, every country, every nation, every wealthy nation is being bombarded with Mounjaro, which is trizepatide, and then semaglutide, and these GLP-1 agonists that are supposed to be miracle workers. Now, as a biochemist and a geneticist, I absolutely love those. They are not just providing benefits, tremendous benefits for weight loss, but the side effects of weight loss in people who have a lot of weight, obese people, which is that the obesity is classified as a disease in the United States because it's like a gateway drug to cardiovascular disease, to cancer, and potentially also known as neurodegenerative diseases, which are known as type 3 diabetes in some cases. So it's kind of, it mucks up the entire system. So when these drugs are being used and being talked about in social media, that is the super beneficial effect that you're seeing, not just a reduction in obesity, but these beneficial. So as a PhD and as a medical doctor, we appreciate these solutions. But the question was, what do we do for like slow weight gain and the slow weight gain creep? And it's so important to work with medical professionals. And also, the reason why Oxford Naturals is designed is because what people don't talk about semaglutide or trizepatide, is that yes, you can have up to 20% of your body weight gone when you're obese. But guess what? 6 months after you've stopped taking it, it comes back on. And in the medical community, that's great because it's a drug that's not having a permanent effect. It's not changing you drastically from the inside. Whereas when you tell this to people, they're like, wait, what now? I have to take this drug for the rest of my life? So compounds like, or supplements like Oxford Naturals, that the aim is that you work with healthcare professionals, you design your lifestyle to the best of your ability that works with your schedule, with your life and things like that, to match up with what we can actually do to slow down or actually remediate that weight gain that is happening. So if you can at all possible, first try those first line solutions, as Sam and Andre have mentioned, because those are going to be long lasting. And those are not going to be things that you have to be taking it for your life, because the idea is to get you a little bit of a boost so that your body can pick up the natural process.
Yeah, it's like a reset, isn't it really? But like they're good to use in conjunction, because One, the ones that you're talking about, the Manjaro, the tirzepatide and the semaglutide, they are good as a reset. Yes, you can lose a lot of weight quickly, but it gets you into your body's metabolism starts working the way it should. That's how it works. So, and then you can use it in conjunction with something more longer lasting.
I think that's also one aspect why I really do like our Optimum day and night, because it cancels out those sometimes really negative, like awful side effects that you get from those like easy fix, and like they feel great at the beginning, but then you have those side effects, and that's why I really do like that component of the Optimum day and night, because you do get weight loss, you get your weight management under control, but in a more sustainable and more natural way that doesn't come with those nasty side effects, and you still get the results, but you don't need to suffer for them, which I think is good. And yeah, one thing I wanted to add, you were just talking about skincare routine, and we do have our own skincare routine. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, we have our own skincare. Sorry, say that again. We have our own skincare range here at Oxford Naturals. So as we were saying before, they have the serums like the vitamin C antioxidant. We have the hydrator. We also have the cleanser. We have an SPF 50. So all the things I was talking about that you definitely need to protect your skin, we can offer that now through the Oxford Naturals as well, the range that we've developed there as well.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, more sleep, losing a bit of weight, improving my skin. I need all of those. One thing I probably don't need, which I'm very fortunate about, but I want you to explain a little bit about thicker hair. Obviously, it's a problem for some people. Just explain a little bit about what you would advise there.
So yeah, we use different things really. We use PRP, which is platelet-rich plasma. So we can take a sample of your blood, we spin it down, we get the plasma from the blood, which contains stem cells, growth factors, but it's all come from you. It's all the stimulating things that we use to do a direct injection into the scalp. So we're using that to stimulate the follicles to regrow the hair, basically. But we use it in conjunction with some other things that we have. We've got, we use LED light, which stimulates the cells, like an LED red light that you can put. It's a little helmet we've got. And we also put people in the oxygen chamber with this. We have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. So the combination of that, you've got the growth factors, and we can use things like polynucleotides as well, or exosomes. There's different things we can use injected in the head. And then we put the LED light on to excite the cells, excite the follicles into action. And then the oxygen provides all the oxygen for the processes that are needed to actually get the follicle growing again. So it's like a little combination treatment, really.
Okay, and slightly more radically, should people want to come in and they want to improve their body contour, a lifted bottom, tighter tummy, etc., what would be your recommendations?
Yeah, so we have two particularly good processes there for, in midlife, bottoms can sag, get a bit flat, lose their roundness, and so ladies really feel this. It's a frustrating thing to, you get older, more mature, more wise, but some of the body fails in certain areas. So we use something called PLLA injectable called Lanluma, which is basically an injectable powder in water that will excite collagen and give you a bottom lift and reshape over a period of months. It's a very nice, gentle treatment, but creates definite, refined results in a lifted, more pert, peachier bottom. In terms of body skin tightening, we have something called Morpheus 8, which is basically microneedling and radiofrequency. That means needles go in the skin, they zap radiofrequency, which heats the tissue deep, and that deep heating creates collagen formation, which stimulates tighter skin. And that can target almost any part of the body. So this combination of radiofrequency to zap and create collagen, and then an injectable that stimulates more collagen, this means we can target almost most body areas for tighter skin or raise and lift where we need it.
Okay, and bringing it back to what we were originally talking about, longevity, making people feel better, look better. What do we actually mean by longevity? How do we measure it, and how do we achieve it?
I think Sam is both a PhD and a clinician, so I think she walks in both worlds. But as a cell biologist, we have been actually wondering, when it's very intuitive when you say that it hasn't been actually intuitive for that long, but it is now very intuitive that you're made of a collection of cells. And we also understand that as you get older, that you accumulate damage at the smallest level, which is at the cell, and then that titrates up. So we have been actually trying to figure out if there's a clock in the cell a ticking clock, or can we actually measure the damage at a cellular level? So from a scientific point of view, and this is where Sam and Andre working with us, the point is, how do we measure something at a cellular level, and how does that actually make an impact on a person's life? So a person cares about, can they climb up the stairs with the same fidelity, with the same ability that they always had, or can they go partying all night, or can they do that binge thing that they used to do when they were in their 20s? That's what a person cares about. But then, apologies, you get a readout from a cell that tells them, oh, well, you are chronologically or biologically 80 years old, or things like that. What does that actually mean? How does that actually connect? So longevity is holistic. It has to match up with what we call functional biomarkers, which is, can the person dance all night? With the cellular biomarkers, which is what is happening at a cellular level at all these different organs and tissues. You're made up of trillions of cells. So how do we actually capture that data? And the whole idea of these two like far ends of things, one at a really single cell level that you can't see with your naked eye, another a thing that you feel, is to combine those two and to figure out what is coming and how we can actually prevent those things from coming in the first place, and how we can actually help the person feel better. Because sometimes you may take caffeine and feel like you have a lot of energy before you realize, oh shit, I can't do that every day, and things like that. So just because you feel better now doesn't mean that that's actually going to be sustainable, and that is actually not going to lead to your first cardiovascular event and things like that. So longevity is that whole thing, is caring about a person where they are now, figuring out a way to mitigate what is going to come in the future, and to be able to rejuvenate them at a cellular level. So to do that, first, as I have mentioned, we need to know what the problem is, and we need to figure out what's happening at a cellular level. We need to figure out at the gold standard biomarker levels that clinicians use, and of course what matters for the person most, which is, can I do this activity? Can I go to that skiing holiday or whatever? That has to be figured out in conjunction with all of those things, and all of those things together is longevity.
Okay, you mentioned the word future there. How do we think AI could affect longevity in the future?
I think unique program has been pretty difficult to think about previously. Whenever people have thought about personalized precision medicine, they have thought about, oh, it's only available to billionaires because you need a team of 50 doctors looking at every nook and cranny and checking out every marker and then kind of figuring it out. I mean, we have, 78 organs and then all of those cells, and everything is going wrong at the same time. And, paraphrasing from Alice in Wonderland, you have to run twice as fast to stay at the same place. So previously, what has been the problem is that too many markers, too many things, and how do you actually measure it? How do you actually scale it? I think with AI, there is a ability that a couple of professionals can actually look at multiple patients, many patients, and with the help of a co-pilot in form of medical AI, they can actually support and augment professionals in healthcare to deal with a lot of patients, and more importantly, lots of data. Andre talked about putting a continuous glucose monitor. Well, that continuous glucose monitor is going to give a readout every 10 seconds or a minute. And that's for months, 2 months, 3 months. And then also, when you put a continuous glucose monitor on a client, you ask them, can you please record what you're eating? They're like, no, I'm not going to do that for like 2 months. So AI, in simple ways, even just taking a photograph of your meal, they could probably do that. The client adherence for that is actually much higher than writing it down, personal journal. AI segregates what you just took a picture of, matches it up with what your continuous glucose monitor is, and then Andre doesn't have to go through 7 billion data points and figure out what is happening under the area under the curve as to what is creating the response. So simple things like that, but then scale that up for all the different things for which you needed a panel of endocrinologists in the past, or oncologists, or GPs. All you need is just Andre and Sam, and then you can have like 40 patients. So AI can certainly help, and the assistance, the key is that there has to be an expert in the middle in order to make sense of the data and also ask the right questions, because it only makes sense. It has been extremely helpful from a scientific point, but you need to know what questions to ask in order to get the answer. And unfortunately, as a scientist, I don't ask the questions that a clinician would ask. So you need an expert in the middle.
It's a big relief that will still be needed.
Experts will always be needed. Okay, so
But not so many.
yeah. So just to wrap up, what else does anybody think might help us live longer, both now and in the future?
Well, as we've been alluding to, it's all about prevention. I think in this country particularly, we're not very good with prevention. We think doctors will just fix it. We don't want to get symptoms. Symptoms, it's too late. Symptoms are showing us things are going wrong, and it's obvious. It's actually just about simple changes in your life. We can talk about things like hormesis, where you put your body under a bit of stress, like fasting, heat, cold. You hear all these people going in ice baths and saunas and heat. These kind of things put your body under a bit of stress. It allows your body to repair itself. Your DNA, all DNA repair mechanisms are switched on during these times because it's that fight or flight. Your body doesn't know what's happening. So let's say, let's fix ourselves ready for the fight. These are things that we need to think about. They're just small changes. There's lots of other things we can do where we can intervene with, obviously, machinery and energy and medicines and supplements, all sorts of things. But for yourself, you could do these things yourself quite easily. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add on to that probably at this very moment, like the main thing that we all immediately think about when we think about longevity and what can we do, it's lifestyle, right? Like it's like exercise, nutrition, sleep, stress management. We talked about this, and there are all different things we can do among those, or cold exposure, infrared sauna, or heat, hyperbaric oxygen chamber. So there are a lot of things that we can do already, and but apart lifestyle, as it can only do so much. I think like what's very exciting about the future is that there are like a few things at the moment that will become more and more interesting for us, like gene therapy, potentially stem cell exosomes, a lot of things. Yeah. What would you say?
Mine is a lot more philosophical, I think. I was just looking up the right date so that I don't get it wrong on camera. But I actually always point out one thing, which is that it's very simple, one sentence, which is biological age is modifiable. I think if every single person in this country and everywhere just got that one message and just thought about it, it would be very different. Everybody sitting in this room and everybody around us understands that kind of intuitively, that you can actually fix it. But I want to give you an example. Again, in this country, 1798, Edward Jenner takes cowpox, inoculates his servant's young son, and they don't get that the boy doesn't get smallpox, which is a deadly disease. The likelihood of that boy surviving if he got smallpox in England at that time was very small, or he would be scarred for life, which would be equally bad sometimes. But so he publishes that data in 1798, and England and Wales takes another 123 years to make vaccinations mandatory in England and Wales for all children. And during those 120 years, the mortality rate in children below the age of 5 is exactly as it was throughout history, which is about 40%. 40% of children were dying during that time when science had shown something works. I mean, Edward Jenner was a clinician, but let's just go with science, had shown something works. With people understanding, oh, right, we can actually fix this. There is a process. I mean, this may not cure all childhood diseases, but there's a way. Like, at least we can eradicate smallpox, and then we can go for mumps, measles, and rubella, and all of those things. But that public understanding and that gap is that, oh yeah, just because it has happened for 199,000 years of humans walking on the planet doesn't mean that we can't fix it. It's a fixable process. It took a while. A part of it is also scaling it up, which we were talking about AI. Can we make it accessible? And French scientists made it accessible. You can actually scale those vaccines up. But really, majority of it is public understanding. So I think one of the biggest impacts on longevity, as a geneticist and a biochemist, I'm super excited about what Antonia and Andre and Sam were talking about, but it's actually the public perception. We are getting older. The median age of England is your and my age, around 42. As the populace gets older, and every third person that you meet on the street is about 42, and we are one of the youngest countries in Europe, as the whole world gets older, there is a shift in understanding, as that we can't do the same thing that we have been doing and expecting different results, which is Andre's point about sick care. We really need healthcare. We need to get back to our health to be able to do those activities that we were able to do before. So I think it's the public perception, the shift in public perception, that it's not selfish, it's actually wanting more, and you can have that, and science shows that. It's not pseudoscience, and it is good to be healthy. You can actually be a productive member of society, productive member of your family, and that is the public shift, I think, that will actually move the needle.
Yeah, I think like that's a big point actually, like from a socioeconomic perspective, right? Like sick people cost a lot of money for society. So avoiding that and like canceling out those age-related diseases will save a lot of money for like the society as a whole. So that's very exciting.
And the idea that, again, once we understand that the fundamental for disease was that things aged, so aging is crucial for that reason, you must ask the question, who in the room, whatever room you're in, is aging fastest? And the person who's aging fastest is the youngest person in the room, not the oldest person. So aging is at its peak when you're young. You age hugely and it slows down as you get older. So by definition, we've got to get to people younger in terms of the aging problem and not later.
Makes me feel a lot better then, because I'm definitely not the youngest in here. Okay, well, I want to lose weight. I want my skin to look better. I'm going to return in about 12 weeks, I think, to see if all those things are happening with your help. So thanks very much.